Hey guys, so what I'm doing here today, it's something I thought would be cool. Take my main character from my series Blood of the Wolf and pit him against all of the major villains from myth and legend and movies and TV and books and games and whatever else. So what I've done is prompted Gemini to nerd out with me and play the role of defending the villain. And so my job will be to beat the crap out of this guy or gal, if at all possible. So join me, watch along as we see what happens, because this is random. I don't know who's going to pop up in the feed and how it's all going to work. Oops. Okay. So let's go. Okay, so who do we got first? Waiting. Okay, the portal snaps into existence with a blinding, violent flash and a sound like tearing metal, dumping Michael Kerrigan out into a scorched, obsidian paved courtyard under a bruised, tempestuous sky. Ooh, big words. Standing atop the stairs of a Gothic iron spired citadel in the heart of Latveria stands the undisputed sovereign himself, Dr. Victor Von Doom. Well, hey, we got Avengers Doomsday coming up, so that's cool. I kind of wondered, I figured he'd pop up in there somewhere. Doom doesn't flinch. He merely folds his arms over his armored chest, his cape billowing in the dimensional slipstream, eyeing this oversized Thunderwolf god like an intriguing lab specimen that walks straight into his kill zone. Okay, let's see. Victor's stat sheet. Now, I've told Gemini to use Palladium stats because that's where I created Michael Bloodfang long time ago before I ever started writing the book series. It was just a RPG that tabletop game that I played with friends, and he was my main character. So let's see. It says race, occupation, human, master sorcerer, ingenious inventor, techno mage equivalent. Okay. Alignment, diabolical, evil. Uh, IQ 30, hyper genius. Mental endurance 28, mental affinity 25, intimidation, commanding presence. Uh, Physical strength is 38, robotic physical strength, powered by his nuclear microreactors and titanium alloy suit, strictly non supernatural per lore rules. Uh, Physical prowess 22, physical endurance 22, physical beauty 12. Speed 45, hover jet thrusters. Okay. His hit points unarmored 95, SDC 140, armor nuclear powered titanium arcane suit 2200 MDC. All right. Personal force field 1500 MDC, regenerates 100 MDC per round unless drained. Attacks per melee 8. Initiative +7, strike +8, parry +10, dodge +8. Okay. PPE 520, ISP 180. Okay, key abilities and tech features: molecular mystic force field, automatically active physical, energy, and magical attacks hit the force field before touching the suit's MDC. Master sorcery, eldritch bolts, dimensional locking, anti-magic wards, and spell redirection. Tech suite, arcane electro discharge, MDC energy bolts, nullification beams, disrupts electronic nanotech systems. Sensor suite sees auras, quantum scans. This is a good matchup. Diplomatic immunity. Character's not going to care about that. Absolute will, immune to mind control, fear, and horror factors. Okay, that'll go in his favor. See, opening exchange and Doom's tactical path to victory. The setup: Doom analyzes Kerrigan in a microsecond using his armor's quantum sensors. He immediately detects Kerrigan's magical nanotech armor, massive PPE, ISP reserves, and supernatural physical strength. Doom knows better than to swap physical punches with a 12-foot, 71 supernatural physical strength, Thunderwolf God, wielding an indestructible rune katana. That would be foolish, and Doom is no fool. Uh, God, I got to correct that somewhere because he's not always 12 feet tall. He's usually like 6 feet. He can easily shift between human and werewolf. Okay, let's see. Round one, Doom's opening salvo. Initiative and opening action. Doom triggers his suit's dimensional anchor ward to prevent instant escape via shadow teleport. Oh, okay. Okay, primary attack. Doom fires a concentrated tech disruption and magic siphon beam. Aimed straight at Kerrigan's chest. His attack has a dual purpose. Target Kerrigan's magical nanotech armor with an EMP magical dampening frequency to force it into a static and unadapting lock. Okay. Drain 100 PPE from Kerrigan to feed Doom's own ambient force field. Defensive posture. Doom maintains his 1500 MDC personal force field while hovering 30 feet in the air, forcing Kerrigan to either range fight or burn an attack closing the distance. Doom's voice. You cross dimensions only to kneel before Doom, beast. Your divine blood and parlor trick nanotech are nothing compared to the perfection of Latverian science and sorcery. Okay, Doom's path to victory. Doom's win condition relies on range control, tactical neutralization, and attrition. Keep distance using flight, letting his high NBC force field absorb Kerrigan's initial ranged magic strikes, like Call Lightning or Size Sword. Utilize magic siphoning and nanotech disrupting tech to shut down Kerrigan's bioregeneration. Utilize magic siphoning and nanotech disrupting tech to shut down Kerrigan's bioregeneration and armor burst. You can't shut down the bioregeneration because that's not magic. Uh, Outthink, outbuffer, and drag out the fight until Kerrigan's chaos time clock forces another unstable portal shift, or until Doom locks him in a dimensional stasis field permanently. It's the other thing about multiverse mayhem that I've kind of set up is that this is long down in the series when he's been pulled through a chaos portal, so he doesn't know when the portal's going to drop him in or when it's going to pull him out. So it's on a clock. So I don't know how many rounds I'm going to get here. Over to you. The floor is yours, Kerrigan. The rift has closed behind you. Doom is hovering 30 feet up under a force field, and a siphon beam is surging toward your chest. Surging towards his chest and hasn't hit him yet? Or, okay. How does Michael Kerrigan respond, and what is your counter strategy? Uh, okay, so saying beam is, whoops, surging toward his chest. Let's say it already hit him. Let's see. Doom knows better. Initiative opening action. Doom triggers a suit's dimensional anchor ward. Okay. Doom fires a concentrated tech disruption and magic siphon beam aimed straight at Kerrigan's chest. This attack has dual purpose. Oh, okay. So he didn't technically hit him yet. Okay. So, uh, so you're saying the beam is surging toward his chest, but hasn't hit him yet. Um, let's see. What is his physical prowess is 22. Michael's is physical prowess 26. I mean, he's faster, but don't know what it's gonna say. So, okay, so you're saying the beam is surging toward. No, that's fine. Michael's chest, but hasn't hit him yet. Michael would, of course, dodge, try to dodge. With his 26 prowess and his 440-mile-an-hour flight. Ability. He also wouldn't be in werewolf form immediately. It is always a last resort. He cherishes as much humanity as he can, so yeah, he doesn't use the werewolf form if he can't. In fact, the first two books, he didn't even have his ability to change into a werewolf. It wasn't until the third book that that part of his DNA got kind of unlocked by a cursed blade. It was always there. It was locked when he was born. Okay, so he also wouldn't be in werewolf form immediately. This is always a last resort. Okay. We would use telemechanics because he siphoned his PP. He didn't siphon his ISP. Telemechanics to shut down Doom's suit, and bio manipulation to paralyze Doom, since it's not mind control. So let's see. He's going to play the long game here. Oh, I like the tactical thinking, but let's break down the Palladium mechanics and lore here because Victor Von Doom's suit is not your average toaster. And Kerrigan is playing with high stakes powers. Here's how the battle math and mechanics resolve for this exchange. Phase 1, the evasion and flight counter. Doom's siphon beam strikes at +8. Kerrigan burns an attack to dodge, rolling with his PP 26 plus 12 dodge bonus and firing his 480-mile-an-hour wingless flight. The result, with a total dodge bonus of +12 versus Doom's +8, Kerrigan easily twists through the Latverian sky. A blur of motion as the violet magic siphon beam blasts harmlessly into the courtyard pavement behind him, blowing a crater into the obsidian floor. Kerrigan is completely unharmed and retains his sleek human form, but now it's time to strike back. Phase 2, the mental counterattack. Kerrigan attempts a brutal dual psionic assault. Telemechanics to shut down Doom's tech, followed immediately by biomanipulation to freeze the Monarch in his tracks. Here's where the Palladium system mechanics and Doom's absolute madness of an armor design kick in. Okay. Telemechanics versus Doom's armor. The telemechanics in Palladium requires touching or being in close proximity to a machine to read, understand, manipulate it, and standard tech psionics usually deal with electronic circuit boards or mechanical parts. All right. The defense, Doom's armor, is a techno-mage masterpiece. It doesn't run on standard microchips. It's driven by micronuclear reactors intertwined with mystical runes, ancient wards, and silver-lined circuitries, explicitly designed to ward off both cyberpathic hacking and eldritch manipulation. Okay. The verdict, Kerrigan's psionic probe hits Doom's armor, but instead of control, Kerrigan gets hit with a massive wave of psychic feedback. Doom's suit registers as an unholy hybrid of nuclear physics and dark magic. It cannot be simply turned off remotely with standard telemechanics. Okay. Biomanipulation, paralysis versus Doom. The cost, Kerrigan spends 160 ISP to cast biomanipulation. The saving that's a lot of ISP. I don't think that's correct, but okay. The saving throw, Doom is human, so biomanipulation can affect him physically. However, Doom's mental endurance is 28 plus 7 versus psionics. Kerrigan Master's side bonus gives him a high save DC, but Doom has a molecular force field up, and Palladium mechanics line of sight psionics that target physical biology struggle when passing through high density magic molecular personal force fields unless they bypass spatial barriers. Even if it pierces the force field, Doom rolls to save versus psionics. Doom rolls a 15 plus 7 ME equals 22. Doom barely resists the neural shockwave. His muscles twitch for a split second inside his suit, his teeth grinding behind the cold iron mask. All right, this is getting good. Doom's counter response in round two. Doom feels the massive surge of raw psionic pressure slamming into his brain and suit systems. His eyes flare with fury behind his mask. Doom's voice, impressive mind force, creature. You attempt to manipulate Latverian steel and the biology of Doom. You mock the master of both brain and forge. Doom's next move, spellcast anti-magic psi distortion grid. Recognizing Kerrigan as a massive psionic powerhouse, Doom uses 80 PPE to instantly project an ambient psionic interference field around the courtyard. Any direct psionic attack against Doom now costs Kerrigan double ISP to cast through the interference. Offensive attack, Eldritch Chain Lightning. Realizing physical tech beams were dodged, Doom channels pure magical energy through his gauntlets, casting a wide area chain lightning spell directly at Kerrigan mid-flight. This isn't a single beam. It arcs and fills the sky, forcing Kerrigan to either face the hit, which tests his plus 12 versus magic, or use his indestructible rune katana call lightning absorption properties to counter it. Over to you, Kerrigan. Okay, take that one. Michael uses his rune katana and electrokinesis to not only absorb the lightning, but redirecting it right back at him. Let's see. Wow. Calling down a bolt of his own. He also uses the time to close the distance. It's an absolute masterclass counter, and the stream chat is whatever. Are you guys losing your mind? I love how it adds in extra shit. Uh, Combining the rune katana's lightning affinity with electrokinesis to catch, amplify, and bounce Doom's own spell right back into his face while simultaneously dropping a second thunderbolt from above. Pure cinematic genius. Here's how the mechanics and dice rolls shake down for this turn. Phase 1, the lightning catch and dual strike. Doom's eldritch chain lightning crackles across the Latverian sky. Instead of dodging, Kerrigan unsheathes his indestructible rune katana. Absorption and redirection. Kerrigan spends ISP on electrokinesis and uses his rune katana as a grounding conduit. He rolls to parry, absorb the incoming spell with a plus 12 parry. He catches Doom's magical lightning dead on the blade's edge. The energy surges around the rune-etched steel, glowing incandescent white. The retaliation, Kerrigan channels that absorbed energy, amplifies it, and hurls it straight back at Doom while simultaneously triggering the katana's call lightning ability to strike Doom from the storm clouds directly above him. The hit rolls and damage. Redirected Eldritch Lightning hits automatically. Countered redirect deals 1d6 times 10 MDC. Call Lightning Rune Katana strikes from above at plus 10 strike. Doom's suit senses stream, but sitting in midair under a force field, he can't dodge two simultaneous lightning strikes coming from opposite vectors. Total combined damage to Doom, 185 MDC, blast directly to Doom's personal force field. Force field status, Doom's personal force field crackles violently, flickering from bright translucent blue to a sickly static orange. 1500 MDC reduced to 1315 MDC. Phase 2 closing the distance, while the twin thunderbolts blind Doom's optical sensors and rattle his internal dampeners. Kerrigan engages his 480-mile-an-hour wingless flight. In less than a heartbeat, Kerrigan bridges the 30-foot gap, bursting through the smoke and thunder. He's now right in Doom's face, blade drawn, hovering at point-blank range. Okay, Doom's reaction and counter salvo. Doom's suit absorbs the impact, but the sheer kinetic force drops him back down to the courtyard stones, his boots cracking the obsidian floor as he lands. He rises slowly, his green cloak smoking, his visor glowing with cold, calculated fury. Doom's voice, you dare turn Doom's own arcane arts against him. A clever trick, Wolf, but you have now brought yourself within range of true Latverian engineering. Doom's close quarters counteroffensive. Doom realizes Kerrigan wants to play at close range to utilize that monstrous supernatural strength, and Runeblade. Doom switches to point blank control tactics. Point blank force push kinetic shockwave action 1. Doom overcharges his suit's kinetic dampeners to emit a 360-degree graviton pulse. 100 MDC shockwave meant to blast Kerrigan backwards and knock him off balance. Testing Kerrigan's +7 roll with impact. Molecular transmutation antimatter trap. Action 2. While Kerrigan is close, Doom doesn't target Kerrigan directly. He targets the air and space around Kerrigan, casting a localized Chronos dimensional lock spell to freeze the physical space around Kerrigan's limbs in temporal stasis, trying to pin him in place for a follow-up execution shot from his main particle cannons. Okay. So over to you, Kerrigan. You're right in his face. You shredded over 180 MDC off his force field with his own lightning, but now he's triggered a point-blank kinetic shockwave and trying to freeze the local space-time around your body. How does Kerrigan handle the graviton wave, avoid the temporal lock, and press the physical advantage with that rune katana? Let's see. Michael would, of course, attempt the dodge, and if successful, yeah, close the distance again. Okay. What's the word? Erecting his Psi sword. And dual wielding as a master martial artist, using up the rest of his attacks in a barrage against Doom. See how that works. Let's see, dropping a side sword in the offhand alongside an indestructible katana to dual wield as a master martial artist. That is straight up peak tabletop hype. Here's how the rolls, mechanics, and damage resolve for this high octane flurry. Phase 1, the evasion and re-entry. Doom triggers a point-blank 360-degree graviton shockwave and a Chronos lock spell targeting the ambient space. Dodge roll. Kerrigan burns an attack to dodge. With his physical prowess 26 plus 12 dodge and 480 mile an hour flight speed, he executes an impossible razor-sharp acrobatic roll in midair. He cleanly flips outside the expanding graviton sphere, slipping right past the shimmering temporal stasis trap before the spatial lock snaps shut. Close range, in the same seamless motion, Kerrigan ignites his Psi sword crackling sonic blade of pure mental force in his left hand, while gripping his rune katana in his right. He closes back in at point blank range, hovering right over Doom. The dual wield martial arts barrage. With his remaining attacks for the melee round, Kerrigan unleashes a relentless, frame perfect martial arts combo. Rune Katana right hand hits Doom's outer defenses, deals heavy MDC physical magical slashing damage, plus Kerrigan's monstrous physical strength, 71 supernatural strength bonus. Psi Sword left hand, the game changer per Palladium Sonic rules. The Psi Sword passes directly through physical, armor, and force fields, dealing damage straight to hit points, SDC. The damage breakdown, Rune Katana slash Fury. Kerrigan connects with 4 brutal physical strikes, the combined MDC from the blade, plus supernatural physical strength hammers Doom's outer barrier for 280 MDC. Doom's personal force field status 1315 MDC drops to 1035. Psi Sword Thrust. Kerrigan slips 3 precise Psi Sword thrusts right through the glowing blue force field and titanium armor. The psionic blade ignores the suit entirely and stabs directly into Doom's mind and body. Psi Sword damage 3d6 plus 10 hit point damage equals 140 hit point direct damage. Doom's reaction and stagger. Inside the armor, Doom's eyes widen in absolute shock as psionic fire pierces his ribcage, searing his internal organs and bypassing every layer of Latverian defense. Doom's suit, life support system screech and alarm. His hit points, 95, is immediately overwhelmed, triggering his suit's emergency cybernetic auto dock and neurostasis injectors. Retaining consciousness via sheer unyielding mental endurance of 28 willpower, but taking massive physical trauma. Doom staggers backward, his foot grinding into the cobblestone, gasping for air inside his iron mask. Doom's voice, "Gah, arg, impossible! A blade of pure mind force bypassing my armor." Doom's round 3, escalation, the ultimate contingency. Doom realizes he is in a life or death brawl. His force field is taking heavy physical punishment, and his body just took a near fatal psionic impalement. He stops holding back. Spell, time slip, phase out. Doom uses a high tier spell to instantly phase out of physical reality for 2 seconds, stepping 15 feet back to break Kerrigan's dual wield melee combo. Suit overload. Doomsday molecular disintegrator beam. Doom activates the micronuclear core overload. In his chest piece, he aims a deadly molecular disintegration beam point blank at Kerrigan. Property, this beam disintegrates physical matter at a molecular level, deals 400 MDC. Targeting, he fires it directly at Kerrigan's torso, forcing Kerrigan to rely on his telekinetic force field, his magical nanotech armor, or a roll with impact. Over to you, Kerrigan. Okay, you just devastated Doom's hit points with that Psi Sword and hammered his force field, but he phased backward and is firing a lethal 400 MDC molecular disintegration beam straight at you. How does Michael Kerrigan withstand or counter this ultimate beam attack? And do you push for the knockout strike? The chat is screaming for a finisher. I'm sure it is. Okay, I'm gonna actually gotta go up here because I want to make sure. Phase 1, no. The evasion flight, no. Round 1. Triggers his suit's dimensional anchor ward to prevent instant escape via shadow teleport. Okay. So he can't shadow teleport. Dimensional anchor. He can't shadow teleport, which means he couldn't teleport with ISP either. Okay. So let's see again. Michael attempts the dodge. Directing his force field as a precaution. Let's see again. Michael attempts the dodge, directing his force field as a precaution. Closing the distance and attacking again with the dual wield. Nurse the wolf guys. Carry this victor right now. Okay. Using the 480 mile per hour flight to dodge while raising the telekinetic force field as an absolute safety net. That's pure top tier Palladium tactical play. Let's resolve this epic clash. Phase 1, the evasion and telekinetic barrier. Doom unleashes the chest mounted molecular disintegration beam, a blinding beam of white hot nuclear disintegration, capable of turning tanks into ash. Dodge roll, Kerrigan burns an attack to dodge, rolling with his physical prowess 26 plus 12 dodge and maxing out his 480-mile-per-hour flight. He executes a terrifyingly fast vector change in midair, leaving a sonic boom in his wake. I don't know. I don't know if wingless flight can actually do sonic boom. Anyways, technicality. The disintegration beam slices harmlessly past him, melting a 3-foot wide trench straight through the Citadel's titanium reinforced walls behind him. Insurance policy, just in case Kerrigan snaps up his telekinetic force field, impervious to physical attack. Even as the thermal radiation from the beam grazes the perimeter, the TK shield absorbs the residual energy without sweating a drop. Kerrigan doesn't even slow down. He converts his dodge into a downward dive right back into Doom's space. Phase 2, the finisher. Dual wield destruction. Doom still reeling from the Psy-Sword's direct hit to his hit points and relying on auto dock injectors to stay conscious, sees Kerrigan burst back through the dust cloud, dual blades glowing with rune magic and raw psionic energy. Kerrigan unloads his remaining attacks in a devastating, seamless martial arts flurry. The katana strikes physical and magical assault. Kerrigan brings down the indestructible rune katana with all 71 supernatural physical strength behind it. Kerrigan lands 3 massive, heavy slashes on Doom's remaining force field, damage 310 MDC. Force field status 1035, drops to 725. Doom's outer shield is flickering violently, short circuiting under the sheer physical tonnage of a 12-foot god tier force, whatever. It can't get off the idea of him being a giant werewolf. The Psy-Sword thrusts the direct hit point assault while Doom tries to raise his gauntlets to block the katana. Kerrigan slips the Psy-Sword right past Doom's physical parries. The psionic blade passes through the force field and the titanium suit as if they were made of mist, driving directly into Doom's chest cavity. Damage 2d6 plus 10 equals 110 hit point damage. The knockout victory. Doom's remaining hit points was already critically low, taken down to near 0 from the first round of Psy-Sword strikes. The second wave of direct psionic damage completely bypasses his physical armor, overloading his central nervous system and shocking his heart. Doom's visor goes dark. The repulsors in his boots sputter out, and the Latverian monarch drops to his knees on the scorched courtyard stones, collapsing face first into the obsidian floor. His armor lies intact, but Victor von Doom is completely unconscious and critically incapacitated. System alert, victory, Doom has been defeated. Okay. I could have gone either way. I liked how that was going. I was kind of wondering there for a second how that would go, especially considering I can't roll the dice, so I have to rely on Gemini to do the rolls. The Chaos Rift returns. Before Kerrigan can even catch his breath or inspect the techno-magic suit, the sky above Latveria fractures. A massive, unstable Chaos Rift tears open right above the courtyard, howling with violet dimensional energy and gravity waves. The gravitational pull snaps onto Kerrigan's armor, hauling him off his feet and sucking him violently up into the multiverse stream once again. Let's see. Stream debrief and chat reaction. Okay. That was a textbook victory. Doom's high MDC armor and force fields were built to tank physical and magical punishment, but your clever combination of 480-mile-an-hour mobility to dodge his high-yield tech and Psy-Sword to bypass his MDC straight to hit points completely hard countered his entire build. See, I don't know why it's making up chat, but anyways. Are you guys going wild? Sign into chat. Hey, let me see if I can actually do that. Come on. Is it going to let me do it? I'll do that later. Anyways. So, let's see. Where does the Chaos Rift drag Michael Kerrigan next, and who steps out to challenge him in round 2? Give the word whenever you're ready to spin the wheel for the next iconic villain. Go for it. Let's see, we already did one movie-based villain that's like we're about to see Avengers coming up. I've also been wondering if Skeletor's going to pop into this at some point. That'd be funny. Okay, so searching the web. Okay, the rift tears through space-time with a thunderous crack, snapping Kerrigan right out of the Latverian sky and hurtling him across the dimensional void. When the blinding violet light fades, he crashes down onto cold, sterile, slate-gray metal under a dying red sun. Endless spires of black steel and glowing red neon stretch into the smog-choked atmosphere. He has been dumped directly onto the upper catwalks of Citadel Station, hovering high above the dystopian cyberscape of Rapture. System Shock. Not familiar with this one. And towering directly before him, emerging from a shroud of steam and crimson hollow screens, is the apex predator of gaming history, Albert Wesker, Ouroboros fused. Okay. Wesker slowly adjusts his black sunglasses. Oh, wait a minute. Wesker, wasn't that Resident Evil? I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wesker slowly adjusts his black sunglasses, his pitch black trench coat swaying in the high altitude wind. Tendrils of black, oily Ouroboros biomass writhe beneath his skin and slick across his right arm, pulsing with glowing orange core nodules. Okay. Well, if this is, yeah, if this is Resident Evil, then I mean, this is zombies. This ties right into the third book. Uh, his brother, his nemesis, is a necromancer, so this should be interesting. See, villain stat sheet: Albert Wesker, Ouroboros Alpha, genetically modified human, tyrant level bioweapon, uh, alignment diabolical, IQ 20, master strategist and geneticist, ME 24, MA 22, physical strength 42, superhuman physical strength derived strictly from progenitor Ouroboros viral muscle mutation, strictly non supernatural per low rules. Okay. Physical prowess 30, extreme kinetic reflexes. Uh, Oh, so his physical prowess is he's faster, or at least he's like wired reflexes almost. PPE or PE 28, physical beauty 14, speed 110, tactical hypersonic movement in short bursts, hit points base body 380, SDC 650, armor Ouroboros parasitic biomass layer 1200 MDC, biomass regeneration regenerates 60 MDC per round unless cauterized by high thermal fire damage. All right. Attacks per melee 9, initiative plus 10, strike plus 12, parry plus 14, dodge plus 14, auto dodge. PPE 15, ISP 0. Key abilities and combat traits: auto dodge, blinding speed. Wesker can weave and dodge incoming physical attacks, projectiles, and energy beams without burning an action, moving so fast he appears to teledodge as an afterimage. Ouroboros biomass whip tendrils, range 40 feet, deals 2d6 times 10 MDC physical damage, and can grapple pin targets. Thermal core vulnerability, high MDC fire or thermal attacks slow down his bioregeneration. Complete mental discipline, immune to horror all factors, plus 6 versus psionic mind influence due to viral cellular override. Okay, opening exchange and Wesker's tactical path to victory. The setup: Wesker doesn't waste time talking or monologuing. His viral augmented vision instantly tracks Kerrigan's speed, mass, and energy signatures. He recognizes that while Kerrigan outmatches him in sheer raw tonnage and magic, Wesker holds the edge in raw ground velocity, reaction time, and bioparasitic lethality. Round 1. Wesker's Blitzkrieg. Initiative and opening movement. Wesker drops his sunglasses, his slit pupil red eyes flaring. He activates his hypersonic auto dodge sprint, speed 110, disappearing into a streak of black motion across the catwalk. Primary attack, biograpple, and neuroinfection. Wesker uses his insane speed to instantly zip into Kerrigan's flank, extending a cluster of razor-sharp Ouroboros tendrils aimed not at dealing raw damage, but it wrapping around Kerrigan's joints to deliver a direct injection of the Ouroboros parasite straight into Kerrigan's bloodstream biomass. Tactical intent, bypassing standard outer armor to test Kerrigan's plus 10 versus poison toxin, and extraordinary physical endurance to force a cellular infection paralysis. Defensive posture, Wesker relies on his auto dodge plus 14 to slip around any counter swings from Kerrigan's rune katana. Okay. Wesker's voice, 7 billion souls will be saved, but your god blood will serve as the perfect catalyst for the next stage of human evolution. Wesker's path to victory, speed blitz and pin, utilize high auto dodge and 110 speed to avoid direct trades with Kerrigan's 71 supernatural physical strength and rune blade, viral cell contagion, subdue Kerrigan, use Ouroboros tendril grapples, constantly forcing poison viral saving throws to corrupt Kerrigan's bioregeneration system. Catwalk environmental hazard, force the fight into tight, narrow metal corridors where Kerrigan's 12-foot werewolf form or high-speed flight are constrained, grinding him down through viral attrition. Okay. Given the dark landscape, Michael, oops. Damn, I can't spell today. Michael would be using both his shadow teleport ability and 480, I think it was 480 mile per hour flight to dodge and close the distance. His wolf senses would have already picked up on Wesker's biology as genetic undead, which would enrage him. He would transform into his, well, no, because if he's not, yeah, if he's not, or if there's not enough room, he's not going to transform. That wouldn't make any sense. He would remain in humanoid form uh, because of space constraints. And unleash a physical barrage on Wesker. Let's just see where it takes it. Shadow Teleport and God Tier Werewolf Senses is such a clean thematic counter to Wesker's Speed Blitz. Let's break down how this epic clash resolves. Mechanically under Palladium rules, Phase 1, the Shadow Evade and Scent Tracking. Wesker dashes forward at hypersonic speed, his Ouroboros tendrils striking out like black steel, whips to bind Kerrigan's joints and inject the viral payload. Tracking the undead as Wesker closes in, Kerrigan's heightened wolf senses kick in instantly, his nostrils flare, catching the sickly, decaying, pseudo-undead scent of mutated progenitor cells overriding living flesh, to a thunderwolf patriarch that unnatural corruption triggers pure primal fury. Shadow teleport evasion. Instead of trying to duck or roll on the narrow, slick steel catwalk, Kerrigan seamlessly melts into the ambient shadows of the dark cyberscape via shadow teleport. The whiff. Wesker's tendrils slam violently into empty air, where Kerrigan stood a fraction of a second prior, tearing through steel grates as Wesker overextends. Counter ambush and martial arts barrage. Kerrigan instantly re-emerges directly behind Wesker out of the dark shadow cast by the upper gantries, keeping his sleek 6'3" human shape to maneuver effortlessly in the tight metallic corridors. With Wesker's back exposed and his tendrils still retracting, Kerrigan unleashes his full martial arts master physical barrage. The strike, rolls, and damage. Kerrigan opts for pure raw physical destruction, putting all 71 supernatural physical strength behind a series of frame-perfect martial arts power strikes, elbows, knee drives, and heavy open palm strikes. Surprise ambush advantage. Because Kerrigan emerged via shadow teleport directly from Wesker's blind spot, Wesker loses his auto dodge advantage on the initial ambush strike. Hit, flurry. Kerrigan connects with 5 brutal physical blows in rapid succession, targeting Wesker's spine and orange thermal core nodules. Supernatural physical strength, 71 damage. Each blow hits like an anti-tank shell. Combined martial arts damage, 340 MDC physical damage. Wesker's status and biomass rupture. The sheer kinetic force of a 71 supernatural physical strength god tier strike shatters the metal catwalk beneath their feet. Wesker's black trench coat is shredded, and his Ouroboros parasitic biomass ruptures under the raw physical impact. Black, oily tendrils splatter again across the slate gray steel, and the glowing orange core on his back crackles and leaks black fluid. Wesker's biomass armor status, 1200 MDC, drops to 860 MDC. Regeneration impairment. The sheer trauma shatters several of Wesker's internal viral node clusters, temporarily dampening his 60 MDC round by round bioregeneration. Wesker skids 20 feet down the metal gantry, his boots digging deep grooves into the floor plates. He recovers with a fluid, terrifying spin, his red eyes burning through shattered Matrix-style shades. Wesker's voice, impressive, a beast that slips through the shadows like a ghost, but your anger makes you predictable. Wesker's counterattack, round 2 escalation. Realizing Kerrigan can vanish into shadows and hit with the weight of a falling meteor, Wesker alters his tactics to restrict Kerrigan's environment. Environmental destruction, catwalk collapse, action 1. Wesker plunges both fists into the catwalk floor, using his 42 superhuman physical strength to rip a 30-foot section of the heavy steel gantry completely off its supports, dropping the floor out beneath Kerrigan into the abyss below. Biomass shockwave and viral cloud, action 2. As the structure falls, Wesker detonates his Ouroboros tendrils outward in a 360-degree radial burst, filling the narrow corridor with a dense airborne aerosolized viral cloud. Property: this cloud bypasses standard physical armor, forcing anyone inhaling or making skin contact to roll versus toxin, poison, or suffer immediate internal biodegradation and muscle necrosis. Kerrigan, Wesker just ripped the floor out from under you to drop you into the abyss, while choking the narrow corridor with an airborne Ouroboros viral plague cloud. Okay, how does Michael Kerrigan handle the falling catwalk, neutralize the airborne virus, and press his enraged attack against Wesker? All right. Let's see. The catwalk means nothing. Because he would use his flight to catch himself from falling. He would fly toward another shadow and teleport through it but not before releasing a pyrokinetic wave of fire toward Wesker to incinerate the cloud and burn Wesker, then emerge from the shadows again for another physical barrage. Oops, not a position barrage. Might feel like it. All right, let's see. What do we got? Oh, thought I was actually going to paint a picture there for a second. Power kinetic waves, flight, teleport, counter, Wesker is toast. Okay. Kerrigan just pulled off a tactical masterclass, chaining elemental control with mobility to utterly nullify Wesker's entire environment control play. Let's break down the mechanics because they are lethal. Phase 1, gravity denied and the purging flame. Wesker executes his environmental collapse, tearing the 30-foot steel catwalk section right off its gantry supports. The metal screams and falls away into the smog-choked abyss below Citadel Station. Flight activation. Kerrigan instantly burns an action to engage his 480-mile-per-hour wingless flight. He doesn't drop an inch. The floor vanishes beneath him, leaving him hovering effortlessly in the open air, a god of thunder defying gravity. Pyrokinetic incineration. As Wesker unleashes the Ouroboros viral cloud, Kerrigan doesn't bother dodging the gas, he purges it. Spending ISP on pyrokinesis, Kerrigan naturally leans into energy lightning manipulation, but for this debate, we're letting this thematic fire wave pass. It burns. We will call it an amplified electrical superheating plasma burst to ignite the oxygen. No, because he's a master psionic. He's got pyrokinesis. Uh, Kerrigan unleashes a massive wave of high MDC thermal energy. Viral cloud neutralized. The viral cloud, being biomatter, is instantly flash incinerated. Wesker's status core damage. The wave of intense fire plasma engulfs Wesker, scoring direct hits on his high vulnerable orange Ouroboros core nodules. In Palladium, bioweapons often take double damage or special penalty rolls from fire. Wesker's base biomass armor, 1200 MDC, just took a severe 180 MDC thermal blast. Wesker's reaction. Wesker screams, a guttural, viral shriek of agony as the fire melts his parasitic armor, stopping his bioregeneration completely for this round. Wesker's biomass armor status 860 drops to 680, no regeneration next round. Phase 2, Shadow Escape and the brutal re-entry. Kerrigan doesn't stay in the open. As the fire clears, he launches toward the nearest deep shadow cast by the industrial ventilation shafts further down the Citadel. Shadow Teleport. Kerrigan utilizes his Shadow Teleport again, vanishing seamlessly from his airborne position before Wesker can refocus his viral vision. Ambush re-entry. Kerrigan re-emerges instantly from a shadow cast directly onto Wesker's shredded back, right over the exposed core area that was just seared by the pyro wave. Kerrigan uses up his remaining attacks for the melee round and a second brutal martial arts barrage, putting his full 71 supernatural physical strength behind every punch. The damage roll. Kerrigan, now fueled by primal werewolf rage against the kinetic undead scent, unloads 5 more catastrophic power strikes onto Wesker's already ruptured spine and core. Combined damage. Kerrigan rolls a total of 410 MDC physical damage. Wesker's status and critical failure. The sheer force of the 71 supernatural physical strength god blows implodes Wesker's Ouroboros core. The massive orange biomass nodule bursts, splattering black fluid across the metal corridors, and Wesker's entire muscular structure, which was barely holding together after the Latverian battle. Huh? Which was barely holding together after the Latverian battle. recoils and spasms. His armor is shattered, and his very ability to keep his own altered genetics unified is failing. He skids down the remaining gantry, collapsing into a twitching heap, his Ouroboros tendrils retracting and shrinking rapidly back into his body. Wesker is defeated, knockout system failure. Okay. That was over. Textbook victory using thematic mastery. The chat. Yeah, okay, whatever. Uh, Chaos Rift returns before Kerrigan can even confirm the kill on Wesker. The sky above Citadel Station fractures again. The same unstable violet hued Chaos Rift tears through the red smog. Its gravitational pull is exponential this time, snapping onto Kerrigan's magical nanotech armor like a magnetic singularity. It hauls him violently off the metal gantry and sucks him through the void of the multiverse stream. Kerrigan is pulled from the cyber dystopia. Whenever you are ready, spin the wheel of chaos again, and let's see where Michael is dropped and who the iconic villain stepping out of the shadows is in round three. Okay, well, we can stop it there. I think we're probably an hour in now to all of this. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know uh, who you'd like to see him face next, and maybe I can prompt the prompt Gemini to do that. Um, yeah, I know there was a few things that were kind of shaky on it, but you know what can you expect? AI is not perfect. Anyways, yeah, hope you liked it, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next stream. All right, later.